don't think we've ever read a script for Peep Show that we haven't basically been delighted by. It'd be fair to say that Olivia Colman in real life is much nicer than Sophie.
Yes.
I hate complimenting people.
Damn it.
It's the wrong way around, because the RTS isn't on television, so you could quite freely get slaughtered. But in the BAFTA, you get free booze, and you sort of have to behave in case you fall over on telly.
Or in case you forget the name of the controller of BBC Two who you're trying to thank, which wasn't a high point in my career.
Couple of pints of water before you go to bed. If you reckon you can keep them down.
Depth charge some ibuprofen, and
depth charge.
Yeah, come up smiling in the morning.
What depth charge?
Yeah,
what does that mean? Up the old.
No, mate.
Oh, sorry.
You just had to take them orally, but before you go to sleep.
Oh, right.
5 series. That doesn't come as a mean feat. You must have really be so overwhelmed by the fact you've got to 5, because.
Yeah, we're very pleased, but we've sort of it sort of never felt like it. We've sort of limped on from one series to the next one.
Letting go of one trapeze, going, are we going to catch the next one?
But we've always wanted to do it as long as they'll let us, and that's good to have gone on longer than I suppose most British sitcoms now.
Because they do always do that sort of. Every time it stops, or we may not come back for another series, you've got to wait for the big men in the suits to decide. Does that still happen, or when you've done a few, once you've got to about 4, do they go, oh no, you're good enough, let's keep going?
No, if only it worked like that. No, we've made the 5th series, we have no idea whether there'll be a 6th, and we won't know for, as long as they'll take their sweet time.
So you're going to have to remind us then, where did we leave off in the end of the 5th series, and where will we start from in this one?
Well, the end of the 4th series, you mean?
Yes.
The end of the 4th series, Mark had just sort of reluctantly married Sophie, but with such bad grace that she burst into tears and ran out on him. And we were left with Mark and Jeremy in the sort of wedding roller, driving off into not the sunset, but with a vague plan of going on the honeymoon together. Which
they do. But we don't see that because the honeymoon we think was in Madeira, and we
can't remember where the honeymoon. But they don't typically, of course, shoot an episode there, so we'd be able to remember if they'd shot an episode there. But no.
But that didn't happen.
Is this just bad budget that they won't let you leave the country?
Yes.
Yes, there are no other reasons why they won't let us leave the country.
We've had no Christmas special in Florida where we have to fight crimes or get mixed up with the mafia. We've had no
special going around Italy on a double-decker bus.
Yeah,
that would have been great.
No Easter thing on the Nile.
No
solving murders.
How about cameos? Because every year it's nice when people start going, ooh, can we just pop in and do stuff? So have you had that yet? Having everybody going, yeah, come on, let's have a go?
It's not really that kind of show. I think when you sort of meet a new character in Peep Show, you sort of want to believe that they are that person. So when suddenly, famous people start turning up, I mean, it's not extras. We're not going to have people coming in playing themselves. It's not that kind of show. So I think whenever we meet a new character, it's normally just a good comedy actor who we might not necessarily have spent much time with before.
How about you? I mean, the ideal, because there must be those points where you just go, God, I'd love to do something with that person or whatever, because obviously you can now do it on your own show as well. We shouldn't mix up the two, but over on the BBC, we can promote with the BBC, but on that show, I mean, there must be people that go, yeah, come on, you must be down the pub with people going, come on, let's get on. I want to be on your show.
Well, I don't know whether people are a little bit, it's quite a, people don't say that, actually, and I hope that's not because they don't want to be on it, but because I think it's sort of a bit, people are, I think, a bit embarrassed to pitch themselves.
It's like, that would be like sort of inviting yourself to someone's party. You kind of go, oh yeah, I see you having a party, am I coming? Yeah. I'm coming, aren't I? It'll be odd. I mean, we've had Adrian Charles and Giles Brandreth.
And on the sketch show, yeah. But that was because they were the right celebrities for the jokes we were doing.
Not because they signed a
because
petition
they're
or
the most,
campaigned.
or because they're the most famous people on earth. Although they are approaching the most famous people on earth, I think. Anyone would admit.
How do you feel about it then when some people like Ricky Gervais goes, Peep Show, best show on TV? Do you just, take that clipping out the newspaper and pop it in your downstairs loo? Or how do you take those kind of compliments?
Well, I think we take those compliments pretty well.
In pretty good spirit, yes.
No, that's lovely, and he's always been terribly supportive of Peep Show, and it's really helped, actually.
That might have been quite a timely intervention.
But we've never I've never cut anything out or stuck it on the wall of my loo, though. That's that way darkness lies.
How about the awards then? Do you often go, and I will just reiterate that with a BAFTA nomination?
I think that's a very quick way to make people hate you. No, I think, I mean, it's very nice to be nominated for things and occasionally win them, and that's great. But the main thing that's nice is being able to make television programmes at all. And I think we're all constantly aware that making either Peep Show or our sketch show costs someone a lot of money. Not because we're paid a lot, I hasten to add, but because making television like that is expensive. And it's always a relief when we're allowed to do it again. And sometimes the odd award nomination helps that happen, but it's making the stuff that's important, not the awards.
So
you're not nervous at all then about the upcoming awards that we've got this weekend, isn't it?
I'm not really nervous. Well, I mean, it's very, very nice to be nominated, and it'll be worse if we weren't. So we'll be going along and expecting to lose because that's what the chances are.
I'm assuming you don't have to pay for your champagne, because I remember at the RTS Awards they made you pay. As they drag their suitcases.
Thank you. Yeah. It's going to be no good for Sam.
I don't know what they're dragging to the gym. There's only a gym down there.
Yeah. Someone's overdone it.
It's the Russian mafia again.
Okay.
Yes, I was quite shocked that at the RTS Awards it was something like £10 for your own champagne.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
There wasn't much free booze at the RTS Awards, I must say. I think there's usually a bit more at the BAFTAs, but then the RTS Awards it's the wrong way around, because the RTS isn't on television, so you could quite freely get slaughtered. But in the BAFTA, you get free booze, and you sort of have to behave in case you fall over on telly.
Or in case you forget the name of the controller of BBC Two who you're trying to thank, which wasn't a high point in my career.
Is there ever any comeuppance on that whole awards speech thing when you go up there? Because if you're not expecting an award anyway, do you just blag it, or how does it work?
My principle is
much.
never prepare to say anything, because otherwise you definitely won't win. If you write a speech, you can tell at the end of the evening you'll be staring at a speech you never got to deliver, drunkenly saying, "What an idiot were you?" Whereas if you don't prepare anything, you look like you're slightly ill-prepared up there, but you've won something. So I employ Sod's law there. And you can usually, all you've got to do is say thank you to quite a few people. No one wants,
half an hour of
Churchillian remarks.
No.
And then the music comes in just like the Oscars.
Yeah.
Now, going back to Peep Show, I'm assuming that it's not going to be the last we see, though, as Sophie, because I did want to... It would be a little worrying if that was it. We never see her again. She's gone off into the sunset.
Oh,
No, we
Minus
see
you.
plenty of Sophie. In fact, she slightly goes off the rails and starts turning up late for work and starts drinking quite a little bit, a few drugs here and there, and basically starts to have quite an unhappy time, which is quite funny to watch when Olivia Colman is doing it. So, there's that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Her gradual unravelling.
Is Olivia a little bit in real life like your real life Sophie in a way? Do you sort of fight over her? No, she's more friends with me. She likes me more.
Well, Mark and Jeremy don't fight over Sophie.
No, I think as far as Jeremy's concerned,
Yeah,
it's pretty much welcome.
I think it'd be fair to say that Olivia Colman in real life is much nicer than Sophie.
Yes.
And indeed, she was the first person to point out that Sophie can be a bit of a bitch, really. And
Yeah.
remembering the point in the second series when she was going out with Jeff, and they sort of split up, and she immediately comes around tearfully to Mark's house to try and essentially garner sympathy and attention. And I remember Olivia Colman saying, "She's a real bitch to do that." And I think she's got a point. There's definitely a mean streak in Sophie.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel, though, about... Because as we reiterated before, I mean, you don't get heavily involved in the whole writing process for this. So there must be points where you think, ooh, I wouldn't necessarily do it like that. Or are you absolutely convinced by the script and you never even just go off kilter a little bit?
No, I mean, we talked to Sam and Jesse at the beginning of the writing a series about plots and stories and what might happen, so nothing is a huge shock by the time we read the scripts. And then when we do, Sam and Jesse are just very generous that if we had any suggestions, then we know that we're free to make them. But frankly, they do such a brilliant job usually that there's very little to add.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever read a script for Peep Show that we haven't basically been delighted by. So, it's a great, it sounds like sort of awful thing a grim thing to say, but it is a privilege to be able to say those lines.
Let's say it. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's not a bad job.
hate complimenting people.
Damn it. Now, you obviously did Magicians together. So is there any other films on the cards for you guys, or have you just absolutely not got time at the moment?
Well, we wouldn't have time for a few months, but there's nothing on the cards, even if we did. So,
Would you not be tempted to write one?
actually,
Not really.
No. I think we'd be very tempted to be cast in one, and we're very much available for that, or, in a few months' time. But no, I think writing a film sounds like incredibly hard, and then the chances are no one will let you make it. So I think at the moment we'd rather write stuff for telly, but we may well change that policy. But also, comedy over, an hour and a half, it's very different from comedy over half an hour or over a 2 or 3 minute sketch. You've got to. It's not just joke. It's character development. It's intricate plotting. And you can count the really good comic films that have come out in the last 10 years on the fingers of one hand. Really, it's I think a very difficult medium to master. So I'm happy enough working in an easier medium.
I'm assuming it sort of helps you, though, when you do appear on so many, other shows, I want to say chat shows, but, things like Never Mind the Buzzcocks, but all of those kind of ones. Does it help you then doing that? Because obviously you've got to be so off the cuff with that. Does that kind of keep you comedy fresh?
I don't know whether it... I like doing those shows for themselves.
I think it's a different skill, really, isn't it? It's not much to do with writing or performing. It's just kind of...
It's keeping your brain active. It probably staves off Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
But... And it's lovely to, when you've been making a show that takes ages to make, like a sketch show or Peep Show, to do something that's sort of quick and an idea can pop into your head and you can see if people laugh at it right there, and if it works, it's in the show. If it isn't, it gets cut out. And so I do love those panel shows, but I don't know how much. I don't think it has much of a transferable skill to acting. Possibly a little bit to writing, because it is thinking of funny ideas.
Is that how it works then? You say something that's not funny and they just cut it, so actually it just seems like people are hilarious for an entire half an hour.
Oh, yeah, they're not going to keep something in which dies. But no, they record, at least double for a show like that. So, and they cut out stuff that works as well. But yeah, no, you can... when you're on those shows, the rule is, if it pops into your head, say it. Because you haven't got time to self-edit.
Now, we were talking to David Tennant, and he actually said he wouldn't mind you doing a little bit of a cameo on Doctor Who in the next series. Oh, look! I don't even have to say it, because the raised eyebrows say enough.
Well, that would be charming.
Well, either of us would be delighted. We don't want to be in it too much, because that would rule out the idea that any of us play the Doctor, which is the main gig.
Our long-term goal.
Yeah. To be the 11th and 12th Doctor.
Yeah, we're not sure about the order. By then, David Tennant will be playing James Bond, so
it's fine. He'll be busy.
And then you can move on and do Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think maybe Q or M would be more my more achievable for me.
I like to be M, but as long as I still get to be a woman.
I'm sure that could be arranged. They've done so many things. Bond doesn't even get laid only once this time round.
Really?
I don't want to be Bond anymore.
Only getting laid only once in an hour and a half.
Ridiculous.
What sort of life is that?
That's not like my life.
So finally then, I have to say this is a bit of a random one, but we're doing a thing of what celebrities do with their weekends. So people can live precariously through your life, basically. So come on,
Poor
this
bastards.
weekend... No, be glamorous about it. What are you going to do this weekend?
This week? Oh, well, we're going to a television awards ceremony, as it happens.
We'll be going to the BAFTAs.
We'll be going to the BAFTAs.
This weekend, yes.
It's like the Hamptons, but more just in a theatre.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but that's not what we do every weekend.
By the way, who do you get to sit next to? Do you sort of see your hierarchy?
It used to be round tables, and they give you something to eat. But now you're just rows in a theatre. If they put you near the edge, near the front, near the edge, then it's a good sign. But because that means you can get to the stage quickly. But if they don't do that, that doesn't mean we haven't. Well, I wish I hadn't said that now, because I don't know where they're going to put us. It could be in the dress circle, but maybe there'll be a death slide down to the stage, and that's.
But in answer to your actual question, who we get to sit next to will be essentially each other. And I will have to listen to more of this speculation about where our seats, what where our seats means.
So after that, just a bit of nursing of hangovers, I assume.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
For good or ill.
Any quick, cures? Because there's always that Sunday, oh my God, I've got to go to work tomorrow, I'm still feeling awful. So what do you do?
Well, it's a couple of pints of water before you go to bed,
Yeah,
if you reckon you can keep them down.
Depth charge some ibuprofen. And
depth charge?
Yeah, come up smiling in the morning.
What depth charge?
Yeah,
What does that mean? Up the old...
No, mate.
Oh, sorry.
You just had to take them orally, but, before you go to sleep.
Oh, right.
I'd never heard of that either.
Didn't know
but,
that was
you know.
called depth charging.
That's what I've decided to call it now.
I was a little
Yeah.
bit worried, but
Yeah.
that's the suppository way you do it. Fine. Thank you.
Nothing to do with suppositories.
Lovely to meet you.
Nice
Thank
to
you
meet
very
you.
much for that.
Nice to meet you.
And good luck at the weekend.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.